It always catches your eye, doesn't it, when royal schedules deviate from what we expect.
Definitely.
And this Easter, well, it's certainly prompting a second look. Word is the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate, won't be joining the King and Queen at Windsor.
That's right, for the traditional Easter church service.
Yeah.
And, when those established patterns shift, it's often a really good chance to, explore the reasons behind it.
Absolutely.
We've got some material here from the Mirror and People, which offers some interesting perspectives on why this might be happening. Gives us a pretty solid foundation, I think.
Okay, good. Let's unpack this then. So instead of the usual big Windsor gathering at St. George's Chapel, William and Kate are going to be spending the Easter weekend up in Norfolk with the children.
The report, yes. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. It really sounds like a conscious choice to prioritize that family time.
What's your take on the significance of that choice, sort of right off the bat?
Well, what's fascinating here, I think, is the explicit mention, the Mirror picked up on this, of wanting to enjoy some extended time as a family over Easter.
Right before school starts again.
Exactly. It kind of signals a potential shift, maybe, in how the Waleses are balancing those public royal duties with their private family life.
Especially with young kids?
Understandably, yeah. And the fact that Prince William apparently informed the king, and the king agreed, that speaks volumes too, doesn't it, about the level of understanding, maybe support within the family?
And it's interesting then to consider who will be there. We're expecting the Princess Royal, her husband.
Tim Lawrence, yeah.
The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh.
Edward and Sophie, right?
And the Mirror also floated the possibility, didn't they, of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson attending again.
They did, which was quite the surprise inclusion last year, if you remember.
It really was.
And that detail, it kind of highlights the evolving dynamics of these family gatherings. Makes you wonder about the considerations behind the guest list each year.
Definitely. And it's important context, I think, as both sources remind us, that the Waleses actually missed the service last year, too.
They did, very shortly after Princess Kate publicly shared the news about her cancer diagnosis.
Which naturally brings us to Kate's health and her well-being. It's still relatively soon since that diagnosis back in February last year.
And the preventative chemotherapy that followed.
Right. We did get that encouraging news back in January saying she's in remission and, focused on recovery.
Adapting to what she called a new normal.
Yes. So how might her ongoing recovery be factoring into this year's Easter plans, do you think?
Well, if we connect the dots, it seems highly likely, doesn't it, that her continued recovery is a significant factor. The Mirror had some particularly insightful comments from her recently.
About nature.
Yes, about the very spiritual and very intense emotional reconnection she finds in nature. How it brings her a sense of peace. So this desire for, tranquility, the restorative power of being outdoors, that could very well be guiding their decision for Easter in the more private setting of Norfolk.
We even saw that lovely video this week, didn't we? Her in the Lake District with the Scouts.
We did.
She was quite clear about how important being outdoors is for her balance, her equilibrium.
Yeah, it really underscores that deep connection she seems to have with the natural world.
And what's compelling, I think, is the consistency there. The Mirror reminded us she's called nature her family's sanctuary before.
Right, and talked about craving sunlight during her treatment. This isn't new.
No.
So this long-standing appreciation suggests that, the quieter, more natural environment in Norfolk probably offers exactly what she needs right now.
Makes perfect sense.
It really does. Prioritizing that seems logical.
It definitely paints a picture of a family really valuing their time together, especially amidst, everything they've been navigating publicly and privately. The Mirror also mentioned their recent family skiing trip, French Alps, wasn't it?
That's right, and we know they had that break in Moustique during the February half-term.
Oh, yeah?
And William and Kate even had a separate skiing trip, just the two of them, back in December.
Right, so it seems like they're quite intentionally creating these moments, these opportunities for downtime.
Exactly. And if you look at those recent breaks, alongside this decision about Easter,
it points to family time.
A clear emphasis on it, yes. Especially, as you say, in the context of recent health challenges and that intense public scrutiny they always face.
So choosing Norfolk offers a different kind of Easter, really.
Completely. One focused on the children, on Kate's well-being, away from that more formal public appearance at Windsor.
Now, thinking back, People magazine pointed out something quite interesting.
Oh.
That despite being, central royals, William and Kate haven't actually been regulars at the Easter service in Windsor. Not every single year as a couple.
That is interesting. You sort of assume they're always there.
Right. But according to People, they've only attended that specific Matin service together 5 times.
Only 5, okay.
So this pattern, it suggests that their absence this year, while obviously notable given the circumstances.
It's not entirely unprecedented for them specifically.
Exactly. It raises that question of how they've historically balanced these, traditional obligations with their own priorities over the years.
Okay, yeah, good point.
So let's look at some of those past instances. People reminds us, back in 2014.
Big tour year.
Right. Australia and New Zealand. Prince George was just a baby. They attended a service in Sydney, but obviously weren't at Windsor.
Okay, official duties abroad. Makes sense.
Then, 2015, they missed Windsor again. Possibly, it was suggested, because Kate had that severe morning sickness.
Hyperemesis gravidarum, yeah. When she was pregnant with Princess Charlotte.
Right. So again, a very understandable personal circumstance.
Those are quite different reasons influencing attendance, aren't they? Duty versus health.
Completely. Then, of course, 2020 and 2021.
COVID. The whole thing was canceled. Affected everyone.
Exactly. Wiped out those traditions for a couple of years. And as we mentioned, last year's absence in 2024 followed Kate's cancer announcement.
Making it a very different situation again. Focused on immediate health news.
But they have marked the occasion at Windsor in some significant years.
Yeah.
People highlights 2017 was their first joint attendance at the Matin service.
Ah, okay. As a married couple.
Yeah. They were also there in 2018. That was Kate's last public appearance just before Prince Louis arrived.
Right, I remember that. Heavily pregnant.
And again in 2019.
And more recently, we've seen the kids joining them, haven't we? Which felt like a real marker.
It did. Prince George and Princess Charlotte made their debut in 2022.
That was sweet.
And then last year, 2023, Prince Louis joined for the first time.
Yes. And the whole family coordinated in blue. That was quite the photo op.
It really was. Those moments definitely emphasized their position, didn't they? The future, participating in these long-standing traditions.
Very, very much so.
So it seems their Easter attendance record is maybe more varied than one might just assume offhand.
Yeah, that gives some important context for this year's decision, perhaps. It's not a break from an unbroken personal tradition for them.
Right. Now, let's zoom out just a little bit. Talk about the royal Easter traditions themselves. People reminds us this Easter Matin service at St. George's Chapel, it's a really deeply rooted thing in the royal calendar.
Oh, absolutely. Long-standing. And when you consider the history, it's quite remarkable.
Yeah.
People even mentions Prince William's very first time attending. He was only 4 back in 1987.
4 years old. Wow.
And apparently the charming detail is he was matching Princess Diana, both in blue coats.
That really brings the history to life, doesn't it?
It does. These traditions, they serve as this powerful link, between the present royals and the long lineage stretching back.
What's also an interesting wrinkle, I suppose, is that People points out even King Charles and Queen Camilla.
They haven't always attended Windsor for Easter.
No. Particularly during Queen Elizabeth's reign. They often chose to spend Easter up in Scotland, at Balmoral usually.
Ah, okay. So skipping this particular service isn't entirely unheard of even for the most senior royals back then.
Seems not.
That's a crucial point to remember, actually. It gives that broader perspective. It suggests a degree of maybe flexibility within royal Easter plans, even at the top. And of course, this year holds particular significance because King Charles, in his role as, head of the Church of England,
He'll be leading the family at the service.
Exactly, which adds another layer to this year's gathering at Windsor.
So, okay, drawing all of this together then, it really appears that William and Kate's decision to spend Easter away from the Windsor service this year is likely, multifaceted.
Seems that way.
Prioritizing family time, providing that supportive environment for Kate's ongoing recovery.
And as we've seen, it actually aligns with some of their patterns of Easter attendance in the past anyway. It's not a complete anomaly for them.
Yes, it really underscores that while the Easter Matin service is undeniably a significant and long-held tradition,
royal attendance, even by senior members, has varied over the years. For a whole range of reasons, personal, practical.
Official duty.
Exactly. And this year seems to be another instance where those kinds of considerations have led them to a different approach for the holiday.
And, that leads us to a really interesting point, maybe for everyone listening to consider. given this ongoing balancing act, right, between the demands of royal life, the public role.
And the very real needs of personal life, family well-being.
Exactly. How might these kinds of decisions, particularly coming from the future king and queen, how might they influence the public's view, the public's perception of the modern monarchy as it moves forward?
That's a big question.
It is definitely something worth pondering, I think.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates on this developing story.